Okay everybody, Tectilar here again with the 8th episode of the Heroes Appendix video series. Its purpose is to help newer and veteran players alike to fully understand the ins and outs of all the characters in Hero Wars Mobile. In today's video, we are reviewing the first place winner of the most recent vote amongst my patrons, and probably one of the most undervalued heroes despite receiving a hefty buff, Heidi. Heidi is a mid-lane mage hero who has the highest chance to dodge in the game. He is also one of two heroes who doesn't have a health glyph, so he has dangerously low survivability if he gets hit. The things that make Heidi unique are the fact that his skills deal exclusively pure damage, as well as he's the only hero in the game with the ability to dodge magic damage. Being a recently buffed hero, people are hesitant to invest in him to reveal his true power. Hopefully this video will show you how he's much more than the meme version of him you've probably been conditioned to believe. In today's video, we are going to be discussing his skills, how they visually appear, and their uses both practically and strategically, when to use Heidi, when not to use him, his roles in the team, artifact priority order, skin priority order, glyph stat priority order. First up is Heidi's activatable skill, Death Flower, which is commonly referred to as his ultimate because this is the ability he can use once his yellow energy gauge is filled during battle. Heidi grows larger in size and gets an angry appearance and leans back and hurls a spiky looking ball at the enemy team. Once it lands at their feet, there is a poisonous cloud that appears and a giant flower sprouts from the ground and begins hitting the enemies every half second with pure damage for a 3-second duration, which basically means 6 total hits. The damage ratio for this skill is reasonably high at 50% magic attack, considering this is the value per strike and it can potentially hit all 5 enemy heroes. His second ability is called Toxic Spit. Heidi will let out a yell and lean forward, pointing Koba, which is his snake, at the enemy. The snake will spew out a green gas which will surround and trail the snake tooth that flies towards the nearest opponent. This skill has a 70% magic attack ratio, which is pretty high, so for each magic attack buff, it means it will significantly raise the damage coefficient. This skill can activate every 11.5 seconds after use. The damage dealt is every half second, so it hits a total of 10 times. His third skill is called Snake Charmer. Snake Charmer deals damage at a 75% magic attack ratio to the lowest health enemy based on raw number, not percent. This type of skill is referred to as an execute because it tries to kill the lowest health enemy quickly. This is especially potent because Heidi only deals pure damage with his skills, so even during the enemy's turtle phase, he still has a high chance of landing a kill. This skill is represented by Heidi letting out a shout and bending over and releasing a different colored snake which slithers to the enemy with the lowest health and biting them. This skill can activate every 15.5 seconds after use. Spy Camo is Heidi's passive skill, and what enables him to dodge all sources of damage. After Heidi doesn't receive damage for 2 seconds, his evasion chance immediately jumps to 20% and grows 15% every second over the next 5 seconds until it reaches 80% chance to avoid all damage. Once he receives damage, the camouflage disappears and doesn't reapply for another 2 seconds. He's incapable of avoiding crowd control abilities like stun, silence, and Jorgen's energy control. An interesting note is that any stun skill that is accompanied by damage, for example Anvari's Stone Grasp and Faceless's Slam, Heidi is unable to dodge the associated damage, so this will always reset his camo. Let's take a deeper look now and see when you should be using Heidi. The first time is with Nebula. Heidi doesn't get a particularly high magic attack on his own, however, he has a really strong skill damage ratio, so having a unit like Nebula which can nearly triple his magic attack, and if partnered also with Arachne, Nebula's buff can go from 112,000 to 217,000. See the Arachne video for specifics of this mechanic. The next time is if your opponent relies heavily on accuracy and taking out your low damage dealers first. Since Heidi has the ability to dodge most attacks at a very high rate, you end up with many additional damage cycles, and he can even fend off the enemy's team's execute abilities, such as Nebula and Heidi and Arachnes. However, he's unable to dodge Anvares since it's accompanied by a stun, and he cannot dodge control effects. The third time is to wall out someone like Ju from killing your backline. Since Heidi gets an extremely high chance to dodge, Ju's almost completely incapable of hitting him. Now we'll take a look and see when you should be avoiding Heidi in your team. The enemy has a stun associated with their control abilities tied to their damage, for example Faceless's Slam and Anvares' Grip and Cleaver's Hook, because while stunned he cannot avoid the incoming damage, which will keep resetting his camo. Another time to consider avoiding Heidi is if the enemy has a stall-oriented team with a lot of healers. Heidi may not be enough to get through the heals by himself. And then the last time to consider avoiding Heidi is if the enemy is basically using Rufus or Rufus and Anvari combined, because number one, Rufus cannot be killed by pure damage, and Anvari's shield offers protection against pure damage. Now we'll briefly discuss his roles in the team as they were just mentioned in the previous section. Heidi's main role is supplemental damage dealer, except when paired with Arachne and Nebula together. He can be the main damage dealer. In other instances, you could try using him for his evasive capabilities, just as a backline tank to help avoid enemies like Ju's Onslaught, Jorgen's Leper ability. Remember, Heidi is relatively incapable of mounting much on his own and relies heavily on the support of his allies, but he can pull off some really big wins in the right teams. Next, we'll discuss artifact priority, which means which artifact is the most important to level up first. First up is the Artifact Book, which will grant him 2,967 dodge and 53,394 health. This will ensure he's able to ward off additional hits from both physical and magical affinity opponents. The next up is his Ring, which grants him 11,970 magic attack, 3,990 magic defense, and 3,990 physical attack, which is about 20% of his total magic attack and his ability to shell out damage. But since the majority of his damage is going to come from Nebula anyway, it's better to work on his survivability first to ensure he's up longer, and his damage will be supplemented by Nebula. Last up is his artifact weapon, Mean Koba. While the bonus dodge from this is very impactful for him and his teammates, he needs a base level of survivability and damage first, which he gets a much greater effect from his passive stats. In this segment, we'll be discussing his skins, which are relatively easy to obtain as far as the priority is concerned, which is good. The top priority skin is his Winter Skin, which offers 2,960 dodge, which is available for purchase with skin scrolls and yields the largest boost to his survivability, and it's approximately 36% of his total dodge rating. The second priority skin is his Lunar Skin, which offers 10,650 magic attack, and is up next because his skills use it, and it's his biggest damage output, and virtually none of it comes from his basic attack. The third in priority is his Default Skin, which offers 4,095 magic attack, 1,365 magic defense, and 1,365 physical attack. This adds minor additional damage potential and less chance he'll be the victim of a critical hit. In our final segment, we will now be discussing glyph stat priority. So what that means is, of all the stats your hero can get, which ones are the most important for you to upgrade to yield the best results? The first glyph to choose is magic attack. Since most of the other investments are going into his dodge, this is a great base to start out pumping his damage a little bit. Plus, if his Nebula ally dies, you want him to be able to apply sufficient pressure on his own. The second glyph up is dodge. It gives 1,120, and since he gets very low health, this dodge coupled with his camo skill can make him especially difficult to bring down. The third glyph to choose is his intelligence glyph, totaling 1,680 magic attack, 560 magic defense, and 560 physical attack, which is up next in damage dealing for him. Fourth in priority is magic defense, since given his position, only Kira can reach him with physical attacks, but a lot of enemies can reach him with magic-oriented skills, so being able to mitigate the ones that connect are as much as possible is ideal. The fifth and final glyph to choose is his armor, which adds 3,360 armor. It's by far the lowest priority, but it isn't completely useless. Okay everybody, hopefully you found this video informative. If you do, please like, follow, and subscribe to my YouTube channel called Server 2 Productions. Another thing to consider is recommending my content to your friends as well if you know they yearn for knowledge of the game. Since these videos are private, word of mouth is how they will get spread. Also, for a large and active Hero Wars mobile community, join my Facebook group called Hero Wars Mobile Community, The GOAT. The link will be in the video's description. Thanks for watching.